Good afternoon. I now call to order the Monday, October 14th, 2024, 1 p.m. School Board Workshop. Would all please rise for a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Okay, we will move on to roll call.
Cheryl Massaro, present.
Colin Conklin, present.
Will Furry present.
LaShaka Moore.
Okay. Do we have any special announcements?
Do not have any special announcements. We are just excited to have Ms. Ramirez that will sit with you today, and Ms. Ruddy will join you at the next meeting.
Okay, wonderful. Welcome, Ms. Ramirez.
Welcome.
Board liaison updates.
Yes. Okay, Matanzas High School SAC, we reviewed all the testing scores and discussed the school improvement plans that will work with the results of the testing scores. Construction is moving along nicely with parts of the building set to open in the next few weeks. Getting students into out of school is still challenging, and I think it always will be at Matanzas High School. Flagler Technical College, the new officers were elected. Joe Wright will now serve as chair, and Teresa Rizzo will serve as vice chair. The recent renovations to the building are excellent, and hardening of the entry is set to begin very soon. Enrollment is up for CTE and Adult General Ed with 700 participants. The ESOL program has a wait list and has 2 full classrooms operational. Summer camp numbers were down, and the thought was that there were so many different opportunities for families to utilize next year. With the loss of ESSER funds, many of the programs will end, and numbers are expected to go back up. Flagler Tobacco Prevention Partnership, big news. Long-time Flagler County representative and tobacco-free advocate Terry Williams has officially retired. Replacing her will be very difficult for her huge shoes. There are huge shoes to fill. Terry Williams will undoubtedly be missed by all. And the focus on Flagler Youth Coalition, the group is actively planning for the 24-25 events. Topics and dates for the 7 p.m. virtual teen town halls. They'll be held on Thursdays, October 24th, financial planning, November 21st, career pathways, January 23rd, student safety, and March 27th, taking care of yourself in and out of school. And we start this Thursday night, 7 p.m. So if anybody's interested, let us know. Contact myself, and I will get you on that link. Flagler County.
Share that publicly. like on social media?
Yes, it has been, and we've been doing it. Flagler County death rate due to overdoses has dropped 14%, with the majority of the drop attributed to the Narcan distribution. So that is a good thing. 14% drop. That is a lot. And that's it.
I really don't have anything. The only thing I have is it's a pleasure to attend the Freedom Luncheon with the NAACP and Superintendent Moore and other staff members who showed up. And it's a fundraiser basically for scholarships for our students. It was well attended and it was a great event. So I appreciate the opportunity to attend.
And Ms. Rogers, do you have anything to share about Belterre?
Yes, so I attended the Camp Read a Lot, as well as Ms. LaShaka, and it was fantastic. It was a Title V event, and Title V, right? Title I, sorry about that. But lots of families, you had to kick them out. Every grade had a camp set up, tents. I mean, it was awesome. And then there were books that were provided to the students, to the families, and hot dogs. It was great. Belterre will also have their 5th grade sponsored dance this Friday to assist with their field trip coming up. So it's almost sold out. There's about 20 tickets left, they mentioned today. So, but yep, so Belterre did a great job with that event.
That's great. Thank you very much for that update. So do we have any adoption or changes to the agenda? Okay, then I'd like a motion to adopt today's agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Dr. Conklin, a second by Ms. Massaro. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none. We will move forward with this agenda. We now move to public comment. Has anybody signed up for public comment?
No one signed up for public comment.
Okay. See no one approaching. We'll close public comment and move on to Academic Services Strategic Plan Spotlight Goal 3, presented by Dr. O'Brien and Mr. Finelli and Mr. Ouellette.
And I think we've mentioned this before, but what we're doing this year in order to ensure that the strategic plan is coming before the board often is every month we will be spotlighting a goal each
Great
month so that we can keep it in the forefront of our minds.
Hello.
Welcome.
All right. And we have decided to start with Goal 3 since we recently gave you an update on school grade and where we were with the federal index just last month. So we're starting with Goal 3 and skipping Goal 1 and 2 for this spotlight. Goal 3 is resiliency and well-being, so providing a structured framework for improving social emotional well-being throughout the school, community, and district. This slide just tells you a little bit more about what that goal means, ensuring that our students are safe and supported, that it's a community-wide focus to help form our socially responsible citizens in alignment with our mission and vision. Why did we choose this goal area? And again, this is from the strategic plan that started in 2021 that we have extended for another 2 years. So it's aligned with our guiding principles of children first and commitment to individual needs, and our belief that by working together, we can provide the level of support that's necessary for students to reach their maximum potential. As you may remember, this goal did have some other outcome goal areas that we met. And so we dropped those off for the extension of the strategic plan. So we had met the youth mental health first aid percentage of being compliant with a state statute of having 80% of our faculty and staff trained in that. We're actually above that percentage. So we did drop that off. We've got good procedures in place to ensure that we're continuing to do that. And we also met the social work referral goal. I think it was at perhaps 99%. So that goal was met well and good. So our 2 remaining goal areas are to mitigate chronic absenteeism, and then we added a new one to really add that focus on staff resiliency and well-being, and to help hold us accountable to the new Flagler Schools Wellness Center that will be coming into place to increase participation and engagement with that. So we will start with the chronic absenteeism goal, Mr. Finelli.
Sure. So our goal is to mitigate that chronic absenteeism, and we define that as 21 or more days unexcused absences in a school year. And we know the importance of this goal because regardless of how great the instruction is, we have phenomenal teachers, we have phenomenal programs going on in our schools. If our students aren't there to receive them, it's all for naught. So we know that this is a very important goal. A few years back, when we were going through COVID and all of the issues there, we saw our attendance rate creep up to about 9%. This past year, we were able to get it down to right under 5%. We were at 4.99%. So our goal, of course, is to get to zero and make sure that every kid is there every day when they're healthy and they're ready to learn. So we're going to continue to work on that. One of the strategies that we're using specifically to address this goal is we wrote a job description for an attendance and truancy specialist. So in the past, we were using a school social worker to fill that role, but it really wasn't specific to the work of attendance and truancy. So we did rewrite a job description for attendance and truancy specialist. We interviewed and hired for that position, and that person's first day is actually today. So they started with us today downstairs, and Mr. Glasgow is working to onboard her and get her caught up to speed on everything that we're doing. And then her job will be to work with what we call our Tier 2 attendance students. So those are students that the school has basically exhausted all resources and options for getting that student in the door every day. And now it's being referred over to the district level for case management and to help break down whatever those barriers are. So Ms. Soto will be working with those families to identify what are those barriers that the school was not able to break down with all of their resources, and then hopefully she will be that.
John, could you explain the funding, how we're funding that position?
So this position's actually coming out of our title funds, so it's a federally funded position for us that we have now for at least the next 2 years, and then we'll have to see how the money is from there.
Okay. Great. Good.
All right. Can you hop back up to the outcome goal areas? Thank you. And Mr. Willett?
The other portion of the goal is obviously, we've had lengthy discussions about a wellness center, and the work continues behind the scenes as we try to get the wellness center stood up as quickly as possible. We're at a place now where Marathon and then the district are working on our final site, in which we're going to have a discussion shortly. We're going to bring forward to the board again. A couple different opportunities have become available to the district, and we're researching those as to what would be the most cost-effective, an in-house wellness site, or the possibility of working with some community members for a site that would be off of our campus, but within the community. In addition to that, in the near term, we are actually have like finalist candidates that were presented by Marathon that we're going to be interviewing as a senior staff to make final determinations on some of the staff members. We have weekly meetings with Marathon in addition to go over policy procedures anywhere between the minutia of like different payout rates and things along those lines. Of course, the last portion of this is once we have our site and we have our staff, we'll also be coming forward to you with a finished product as far as our outlook and our layout for our advertisement plan to go ahead and get to the place where we're at least at 36% of engagement by our employees. And so, this obviously would overlap a lot like a Venn diagram, where this isn't just a portion of this strategic goal. It's also definitely a portion of talent retention, recruitment, as we face, competition to the north and south of districts that have existing, clinics.
Quick question. Okay, sorry. I was going to say your time frame. I mean, what kind of time frame are we looking at now to get operational?
The biggest portion of our time frame issue now is the site selection. Okay, and that's kind of put us back a little bit. because originally we came into this with a couple different thoughts on where we were going to move forward at the time, so whether we're going to go off-site or on-site. But as soon as that final decision is made, based on cost, location, and the other factors like that, we'll be on that 6-month build plan
6 months
from the
after
site
the
selection.
decision, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm confused. I thought we had somewhat decided on a site prior to this.
We were pretty close to a decision on
Yeah.
site, and we were moving forward with it, but, I mean, community members brought opportunities and possibilities forward.
Okay,
And
so it's new, that's the new piece.
yeah, we would absolutely,
Okay.
we wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't research them.
That's fine, thank you.
I have a question. Since we've announced this, have we seen some interest from those in the insurance plan right now about when this might happen? Are they calling? Are they saying, hey, are we seeing that any engagement with the desire to participate in this?
We initially, at the beginning of this school year, when kickoff occurred over at FPC, absolutely, there's excitement and a willingness to kind of move forward with that. There's been a little bit of a lull that we need to kickstart and move after as soon as we have our site selection. And we are well aware of that, and so we're going to push back into everybody's frontal lobe again as soon as we have our site selection.
It'll be nice if we have a grand opening and people are waiting outside the door. That's what I'm looking for.
Yes. And so, we want to start moving forward. It's similar to, what they had done with the expansion over at Matanzas. We want pictures of their build out and a report snapshotted out to them on our progress and so definitely.
Build up some excitement.
Exactly.
Just a quick question, the 36%, is it 36% of those that only use the insurance plan? Okay, so I think that answers the next question I had was, have we had any thoughts of opening it up to all employees?
There are marketing pieces where you can do promotional things that would, market it out to folks that are not currently part of our plan. That always comes with a caveat, because we have folks that are on our plan and that are paying, and that's part of what is the free benefit.
Right.
To that. So it would be more of an introductory kind of, number of visits. Try it, or a flat rate kind of piece. And those are some of the promotional ideas that are actually on the table right now on a bullet list to see what makes the final cut.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Good stuff.
All right, and as we went through, we discussed many of these priority strategies that are on the next slide. Implementing the attendance and truancy specialist, building staff capacity by improving their wellness benefits. Do you have any questions about this goal area, kind of where we're headed?
I kind of think we kind of covered them.
Yeah, good. So the updated strategic plan dashboard is almost live, so we'll start to be able to see, for the areas that we do have data points, you'll see the baseline and then where our target is. Once the clinic is, the wellness center is up and running, I believe that the participation data is available real time, so we'll be able to really monitor that one frequently. So, on the horizon.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate the
Absolutely.
presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll move on to 6.02, Ocean Center Facility Use Agreement.
Yes, all right.
Go, Brian.
So I'm just going to roll right into this one. So we're bringing this before you. This is our facility use agreement for graduation ceremonies. Previously, this agreement was done through Volusia County, and we were just kind of piggybacked. But we have separated, and we are doing this in a separate manner. So this is the standard facility use agreement. It reflects what we have done in the past for using the facility. Each school, when it's all said and done, tends to cost around $12,000. So all in, it's a little over $24,000. But that's why you're seeing this now, and you haven't seen it come before you before.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the past, and Volusia they've been great partners with us, but we really are tied to what they agree upon with the Ocean Center, and it's time for us to make sure that the things that our needs, our wants, are also at the top end of that priority as well. So that's why we're making that change. Again, the cost doesn't change, but it's really an opportunity for us to work directly with the Ocean Center to
I think it's a
ensure.
great idea.
Yeah. Did we just piggyback on that for convenience since it was just there? Was there-
It's been a long-standing relationship
So
that has
we
been
just-
done
we
that
just
I
way.
rolled
think it's
with it.
because we,
Yeah.
well, and we're grown now.
That's right. And it is, and they've been good partners, but our dates and all of those things have been contingent on their schedule.
Yeah.
And our relationship with the Ocean Center, though they have been great partners with us over the years as well, has been connected to their agreement. And so this is just an opportunity, in the words of Dr. Conklin, for us to, be grown up on our own and have our own contract with the Ocean
Sounds
Center.
good. Sounds good to me.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. O'Brien. Okay, so now we will move on to 6.03, instructional calendar update.
Yeah.
Ms. Bossert-Dax.
Boy, I bet you've had fun with this.
Love a good calendar. So as you're well aware, we lost a few days due to the hurricanes that came through, both Helene and Milton. And as you can see, we missed out on Thursday, September 26th, Friday, September 27th from Helene, and from Milton, Wednesday through Friday, October 9th through 11th. We had originally just rescheduled for today to be a school day when we had Helene come through, which was going to drop us down to 84 days, and we were going to see what happened from there because we knew there were a few additional systems going through. When the calendar committee got together and we started talking about what changes we would need to make, we had to consider a few things. First of all, we did not want to end the quarter when students weren't in school. So we pulled the calendar committee. We got together last minute. As soon as the cancellation notices went out on Tuesday afternoon, we convened the committee. So we didn't want to end the quarter when students were not in school due to Milton. And teachers had also requested time to complete some planned assessments. There were a lot of assessments that were planned for Wednesday, October 9th, and they felt that they wouldn't be able to get that additional summative in, and to also allow for students to have adequate time for a retake or makeups. So we decided to adjust the quarter one to end on October 18th. So we made that decision that we would really need to do that. In addition, when we saw that we were going to be out 5 days, in order to meet instructional minutes for semester-long courses based on the statutory requirement, we needed 85 days in the semester. And I know that one of the things that is talked about, well, how come in Volusia or in St. John's, everything is based on instructional minutes. There is a statute that dictates what a credit is equivalent to. It's 135 hours. First semester is 67 and a half. Since we have a 48-minute period at our high schools, in order to issue that credit, we need 85 minutes. So Volusia, when they have 50-minute periods, they might not need 85 because the math is just, that's how the math works. So to accommodate this, we needed to move the end of semester one to after winter break, which I know was something that we didn't want to do when the calendar committee first came to you. But we really could not get to 85 days otherwise, because the only days that we had to work with were October 14th, November 25th and 26th, December 23rd. That's only 4 out of the 5 days that we would need to make up. So that would mean that we'd then have to take January 6th. We'd be ending after that anyway. So if we go to the next slide, you can see what we've kind of proposed. We would have quarter one. What is in red is what would be changes. Quarter one would instead end on October 18th. Quarter two would then start on Monday, October 21st. We would then end quarter two and semester one January 10th then. What that does is the loss of the teacher workday today helps maintain 43 days in quarter one. The addition of those other 4 days from semester two that we'd be borrowing from that first week of what was supposed to be semester two would maintain 42 days in quarter two and allows us to maintain 85 days in semester one. The impact that this would have on the second semester is that quarter three, instead of starting on January 7th, we would start on January 13th, which would drop quarter three down to 42 days. We decided to keep quarter four untouched, and semester two, the only change then would be the start on January 13th, and it would drop us to 90 days. So you see we would have 85 days in semester one, which we originally had, and we'd go from 94 to 90 days in semester two for an overall calendar of 175 days instead of 179. Now, just to give some context for people out there who are wondering, in the statute, it does dictate that we could have 180 days or the equivalent instructional time. We have been running on a 179-day calendar for probably 6 to 8 years now. There are other districts, I believe there are 16 across the state that are below that 180. And there is one district out there, I can't remember who, that has always run a 175 for the better part of a decade. So it's possible as long as you meet the instructional time. So that's where we're at so far. And then if you'll go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So the pros, we still meet the instructional minutes. We do not extend the school year, because if we did want to get back to up to 179 days, we'd either have to take from Thanksgiving break, possibly some winter break, spring break, or add days to the end of the year. We did have some conversation about extending the school year, but the way that the assessments run and the fact that assessments usually close on May 30th, we couldn't really understand if that would have a positive instructional impact on students. And it also, the pros, that this does not impact the current defined breaks that we have in place. The biggest con is we do reduce the total number of instructional days that we have in our calendar, which teachers won't get back. We know that the reality is adding minutes, like a minute here and there throughout the year, isn't going to give them the instructional time back that they're going to lose. So we'd be sacrificing those 4 days. And it also means that semester 1 extends beyond the winter break, which is something that we don't like to do to align with our local articulation agreements with our colleges. So we also discussed worst case scenario, should another event come. We have already put this in place. If we have the unfortunate need to make up any additional days, if we had to make up one more day, then we would consider taking Monday, January 6th. If we had to make up more than one day, we'd have to take out of Thanksgiving break. So, and again, we just need to make sure that we have advance notice. There are some negatives to both of these. We've already taken a teacher work day away from our staff today to make up a student day. If we have to use January 6th, that's another teacher work day that our staff has lost out on. So, do you have any questions at this time?
Nope.
No, you really
You're
covered
doing
that
it.
very
Yeah.
comprehensively.
For the benefit of the public, can you say, you mentioned the calendar committee, who serves on the calendar?
Sure.
Not necessarily names, but
Yes.
who are the members of the team?
So the calendar committee is comprised of 10 people, 2 nominated by the FESPA president, 2 nominated by FCEA, 4 nominated by the superintendent, 1 parent who is nominated by the superintendent, and 1 parent who is nominated collectively between the FCA and FESPA presidents. So we have a team of 10 people. If our assessment and accountability coordinator is not one of the sitting voting members of our team, they do consult to help provide guidance should we have any questions about how this impacts for assessment.
Excellent.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you, Louise.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Of course.
This, so in emergencies, I can make changes to the calendar. We, so the change to quarter 1 has already been made. However, we will bring the updated calendar before the board for the November approval. We did not put it on for tonight, but it will be on for November so that we can just have it officially approved by the board, the new changes to the
Yeah.
calendar.
That's great. I mean, just good job trying to stay away from the Christmas and
Yeah.
the Thanksgiving
Spring break.
break.
Yeah.
I know so many families really look forward, and so do our teachers and staff, just to recoup.
And I appreciate
Recharge.
that the calendar committee, especially the parents that served on that committee, wanted to ensure that, we could, our students could get the instruction, right? It's easy to just tack on a day at the end of the calendar, but is that really going to advance the instruction that our students are receiving? So I appreciate that the team really looked at that and came up with, I think, a good plan for moving forward. Also, we have a, plan B in the event that we need to go after some additional days. One last thing that I would like for you to address before we go into the next thing, we get this question often about waiving of days. Like, okay, will some of the days be waived? If you can kind of address that, and then that would be my last question.
Sure. So we did receive notice from the commissioner's office about, because this hurricane happened to fall in our survey week as well, so for state reporting. So it happened to be very well
Oh, I
timed
didn't
for
realize
us.
that.
Wow.
Yeah, so we did receive some guidance, and in the memo, it did include a sentence that at this time, they do not plan on waiving any instructional time. And there's a little bit of a misconception, in my personal opinion, out there, because we've talked about, well, years and years ago, they waived instructional time. They waived the days of meeting the 180-day calendar, but they still said, we will waive that as long as you still meet instructional hours. So we still are bound by the statute that requires 900 hours of instructional time for grades 4 through 12 and 720 for grades K to 3. And then again, that credit statute that I referenced earlier for the 135 hours or 67.5. Even with losing these days, we still meet that instructional time. We meet the 900 hours across the board. We meet the 67.5, the 135. So that when that memo came out and that sentence was in there, we kind of understand that we were kind of anticipating this. We really just wanted the general blessing of, you don't have to make up those 4 days. Like, you physically don't have to be present as long as you hit that instructional time. So we are still maintaining the integrity of the instructional hour.
Good. Good.
Well done.
All right, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Response for that. Okay, so now on to operational services. Update on the courthouse. Mr. Bush.
Well, that's a tough act to follow.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Hi, guys.
Good afternoon, Board Ferry, Superintendent Moore, and Board. I'm here to start off with the update on the courthouse, the old courthouse that we started leasing. The contract with the county and everything was signed September 3rd. And from that date, we started getting in contract with a construction management team and an architect to go through what were some of the things that we were gonna have to do to bring it up to speed. So through here, we're just going through some highlights of what we're still in the process. One of the things I just want to make sure that I know that we were hoping to try to get in there a lot sooner, but based off of, and I'm not going to say the storm because it was, you know, things have slowed down. I'm getting the contract with the county. With the contractor, they're saying that they can start in January and be completed by the end of March. So we're saying April 1st, it's not a April Fool's joke, that it should be ready to be able to occupy. Now, having said that, the district, Mr. Freeman, Ms. Moore, we need to look at what does that look like. As far as moving students, does it make sense to do that, or do we, you know, still have a phased-in approach? What does that look like? So we haven't really talked about what that looks like because we need to make sure this timeline is going to be there before we do that. So a few things on the outside. If you're familiar with the grounds out back, there's the big parking lot with its fenced in. Currently, there's not a way to access the building if you're handicapped. So and we're not talking about the occupants, we're talking about when everything is closed and locked. If somebody comes to visit, there's not a handicap place for them to go. So we're going to move the fence a little bit and create some handicap parking and allow some accessibility to a door for someone that will be able to bring some of our technology, what we just put out here with the face, be able to have some of that, make it a little bit nicer. On the next, and this is going through on the first floor. This is for the adults with disability. Is a lot of what this is adding a new kitchen with a refrigerator, of cabinets and et cetera for them, washer and dryer, and that is new electric and plumbing because there is nothing like that in the area that we're having to put that. We've looked at that building in several places. Could we do that without having to add all of these things? And there's just really not an opportunity to do that. So there's that's probably the biggest for us of throughout the whole job, other than some painting and carpet, other things on the other floors. And on each one, when you go through, it's just a drawing of the next slide. This drawing is basically the bullet point of what we showed you. It's not conductive. It's the same thing, just our map of what we showed our contractor, what they're working on to try to figure out how we can get this done in a timely manner. Next slide. On the second floor, again, we're painting, replacing carpet. one of the things that we have to do on the back end is, this was never in DOE and Fish because it was a private school. So now that it comes to us, there's a lot of things that we're having to do with drawings and room numbers and working with DOE to get that in their system. So that's also kind of why the January timeline, because we have to have that time to work through that process with DOE as well. And then same thing, the drawing of what's on the second floor. And then third floor is just some painting, some minimal stuff on the third floor. We are adding a bathroom on the third floor. Yeah, on the third floor, because that is for Rise Up. So we're adding another restroom in there because they felt that just having the 2 group restrooms, they need to have another additional single bathroom for some of the clients in there. And then we have some proposed possible alternate walls, possibly adding another restroom in the principal's area. But again, that's an alternate just because of whether we can get that done or not. And is there any questions about?
I was going to talk about the parting of the storefront entry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at your diagram, so that looks like it's going to be behind those 2 office doors as you enter that go to the right and the left?
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so they'll be general access or what?
Into those front doors?
Yeah, into the 2 side doors, because you wouldn't have to go to the,
No, we will have those locked.
okay,
Those will be locked to where you won't have access, where they just come and go. It'll
Okay.
be scheduled, so people will not just be coming in there without us
Perfect.
knowing to be able to.
and you've had conversations with them regarding that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Perfect, perfect. The other question that I have is, I saw about the elevator for limited access, Salto keys.
Yes, ma'am.
So those elevators are the main way up and down
Mm-hmm.
to the 3rd level.
Yes, ma'am.
So I didn't realize they were going to be just used for special access, or what? What's the deal there?
It's more for us, one of the concerns with the adults with disability on the first floor, if someone were to get out, get to the elevator, then they possibly maybe be able to get in the elevator. We looked at putting some storefront doors, but the cost in trying to do that, and also where it needed to be, because there's a ramp that also comes down, it was gonna be very challenging if we were gonna be able to do it at all. So I got with Mike Payne about putting Saltos on the elevator, so then the staff essentially would all have access to be able to get in the elevator and be able to get out of there. And I know people will say, well, what if there's an event? Well, generally speaking, if there's some type of emergency or whatever.
Hazel.
Correct, you're not supposed to use
Yeah.
the elevators, you should
Yeah.
go to the stairwell anyways. So that'll be something that we will work on as far as
Okay.
who has access. We're just trying to, when I say limit, more of make sure that the staff has the access and not students or the younger.
That's fine. I just was curious what the thought was, and that makes
Yes, ma'am.
sense. Thank you.
Mhm.
That's it, that's all I had.
Any other?
All right, any other questions on
No?
this update? Okay.
No?
No,
We can move on
thanks,
to the
Gordon.
next one.
Thank you.
Okay.
Kansas High School.
Matanzas High School, I'm gonna turn this over to Chuck Coates, the project manager.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
Once the slide rolls up.
It's thinking.
I got it. Here we go.
All right, typically, the first 2 slides have been the same, but I want to go over the second slide a little bit for our new board member, just to get them a little familiar. If you go to the next slide, oh, that one is there. Nope, back one, there you go. So if you're familiar with Matanzas High School, Building 5 is the end of the building there where the big X is. We added a 2-story, 20,000 square foot building right there that houses 6 new classrooms and a construction lab and the media center. So the media center is getting relocated. So that was all part of what is considered phase 1. Up to the top in the bus loop, you see a new central energy plant. That's about $6 million worth of the project right there to put in the new air conditions, new power, all the things required to do the addition. On the far left, there's a blue building right there. This is a new multi-purpose building that is for PE. And so that'll house a couple PE classes. I'm not sure how many, but 2 at least, I would think. And then part of phase 2, that's all phase 1. Part of phase 2 was when the new media center was built, we were gonna be rolling the kids into the new media center and then go back and build the media center, renovate that space that's currently a media center. It was gonna get renovated to additional cafe space similar to the FPC Bistro, and then another classroom. So in the process, we worked with Ms. Bozeman and the school, and they said that they would be willing to give up their current media center in order to get ahead of schedule. So we were able to do that, and we did a condensed media center in what they call the plank. It's very small. We've already ordered some of that furniture that's already in there to accommodate that will be relocated to the new media center. So with them vacating that media center, we went ahead and on building 4, the new cafe and the new classroom, we went ahead and that will be completed this month. And we're intending to have an opening that you guys will get invited to on November 5th. So that moved the schedule up. That part of phase 2 technically is becoming phase 1 now. And that was not scheduled to be completed till April. So we've jumped quite a bit with the
That's
school being
awesome.
willing to condense a library and work with it. So that's been a big help. So the only part we'll have to do after technically phase 1 is completed in January is to go back to the buildings 9 and 10 and renovate the wood shop when they move out. We'll have to go back and convert them back to regular classrooms. So with all the renovations, we also did work in buildings 9 and 10 this summer, where we switched some bathrooms around to give staff bathrooms on each floor instead of having 2 staffs on the second. Now we have a staff bathroom on the first and second. And over in building 6, we expanded a classroom, 2 classrooms. We expanded them out to raise the student stations in there. So the capacity now would be 366 additional student stations that we've been able to do with this project. So that's the overall. Building 23, this is the heart of everything right there. That's the central energy plant with our new chillers, the new ice tanks, and the new skid. The inside we have the HVAC equipment. The temporary panel is online that we've brought to you guys in the past. We're still scheduled for that to be scheduled to be shipped November 19th. That date has not changed, which is good because it hasn't gone out. It's been progressively going out, but for the past 3 months, it's maintained November 19th. That equipment will ship. If all goes well, we're going to be cutting over from the temporary power to the new power at Christmas break. So that's all rough schedules because we don't know that yet.
Okay.
We go back one. So we still have right now the air conditions are fired up. That equipment you see right there is running, and we currently have air conditioned to the 2 new buildings, building 5 and building 22.
Wow.
Excellent.
Okay. This is building 5 on the top right. You see that's what a typical classroom looks like. At top right and bottom right, that's just the 2 different angles. With the walls are painted, the doors are sitting there, they're getting ready to go in, the drop ceiling's in, air conditioned, lighting, everything's going on there. The 2 pictures on the left are the new media center and what it's going to look like. So you have the middle picture has 2 breakout rooms is what we call them, and they can house like six kids, and they'll have small things. Everything's glass up there so that the teacher can see everything from all the different spaces around they can see. So, okay, next slide, please. Building 22, which is a multi-purpose building, you see the tile work is going in the bathrooms. The epoxy floors, I believe, are being started this week. With the storm maybe delayed a little bit. And building 22 will be wrapping up and the site work going on real soon. We're not turning that building over because we're going to use that to store our furniture, to store things like that in order to, and then that'll be part of a final turnover in January. This is building 4. This is the one that's going to be completed this month. So on the top right, you see what is it? That'll get LVP floors that are, the floors are being delivered tomorrow. They'll be installed over the next week. And then furniture is being delivered the first part of November. And that'll be, that's got LVP floors, so that is a STEAM classroom or STEM. That's going to be some type of like a science type room. On the bottom 3 pictures, you see on the far left, you see the cafe. That's a new serving area for for food service, so they can serve food out of there. It's got both got hot and cold burners in it that they can, or warmers, I guess they call them. And then you'll see the tile work around the thing. In the middle picture, you can see the windows and stuff through the blue. That's all taped off right now, but that overlooks into the cafeteria. The current cafeteria. So there's a door connecting those spaces, so they can open it up for regular lunches, or they could shut it down for, say, a PBIS or something like that kind of lunch. Okay, next
Good.
slide. So here's just some general pictures of the exterior of the buildings and how it looks this week. These were taken just the other day. The bottom picture, all the site work is in progress. You see the stakes and things like that in the ground. They're starting to work on sidewalks, the canopies and things like that. So that's all in progress. That's actually been delayed a couple weeks because of all this rain. On the project highlights, we still have the class coming to visit monthly. They missed this last one due to the storms. Phase 2, like I mentioned earlier, has moved up from April to November, which is pretty cool. Owner direct purchases pretty much capped out right there. It's been 176 for a little while. I don't think we have any purchases left to do. Buildings 9 and 10 restrooms have been completed and turned over to the school. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Okay,
Excellent.
it's great progress.
No, I just comment that I know as a fact that they're very excited about getting these things opened up. I mean, Ms. Bozeman and her staff have been working wonders, working with the team to ensure that, and getting the library, the media center back. It's a little cramped in the plank, little cramped, but making it work, making it work.
They've been great to work with.
Yeah,
They've-
they're
very
just so
flexible.
excited, yeah, they're just so excited that they're seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, and that's what the big thing is over there, so that's good news. Great job.
Thank
Great
you.
job with project management.
Yep, great job.
Ahead of time, saving
Money.
$175,000.
Yep,
They're
very happy.
not gonna wanna see you pack up and go, Chuck.
I'm not going anywhere.
Well, they're not gonna
9
wanna
years.
see you leave Matanzas
Oh.
specifically.
Oh, okay.
Let's be clear, we know you're not.
I was just saying 9 years, but I'm not counting.
We're glad you're here.
We'll lock you up if we need to. No, but they do. Miss Bozeman really speaks
Oh, yeah.
highly of
Absolutely.
Mr. Coates and all that he does in order to keep the project on track. And so we appreciate you gentlemen and all that you guys are
Yeah,
doing.
thank
It
you
looks
very
really
much.
good
Thank
too.
you, everybody.
Yeah.
Great
It looks
update.
really good.
Exciting.
If
If-
anyone
yeah.
wants to visit at any time, please get a hold of, I mean,
I would say go through
Lashaka
Corey.
or myself. You know, we'll take you for a visit. Miss Lashaka comes up, tries to monthly. She is very busy, but if anybody ever wants to visit, please get a
I
hold
get
of us.
monthly
Very
updates.
cool.
You just come to ride on the golf cart.
Yes. Just wear your,
Weather's
wear your
nice.
good shoes.
Walk-
Yes,
I said,
wear your
weather's
walking
nice and
shoes.
yeah.
Because that is dirt that's out there
It's
for
a-
sure.
yeah.
It's
Mud
definitely
right
not
now.
sand.
Mud.
Yeah, it's probably mud right now.
Yes, very good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
gentlemen,
gentlemen.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, so now that moves us forward to public comment. Do we have anybody signed up for public comment?
No, I want to have public comment.
Okay, so we will close public comment and move on to board member requests. Do we have any board member requests?
I'm looking.
Okay,
Yeah, I do.
okay.
I do. I was looking at the board docs for today's meetings, just reviewing them this morning, especially for tonight's meeting, and I see that our personnel information is still not listed. I would request that they get at least listed at least 48 hours before meeting time, because we're being asked to approve things we don't really get a chance to look at except at the meetings. And I find that difficult. So at least a couple days beforehand will help us as a board to know what's going on. And if we have any questions or concerns, we can at least address them. But as it is of now, we're just voting. And I would like to see that changed.
We can definitely get them as soon as possible.
I know it's a
Today's
living
issue-
document, I
Well,
understand
and
that.
today's issue, I mean, the staff have been out of office since.
I get that.
Tuesday, so, on Wednesday, I'm sorry. so-
Perhaps, though, you can still keep it live, but listed, so that when changes are made, they can,
We'll take that.
yeah, that would just make the most sense to me. That, and the other board member request is, I'm going to ask that the district, the board, rethink our need for a school board and a district attorney. And I'm going to ask the new board to probably take that on. Because, I mean, I did some research and realized everybody that has 2 attorneys, one separate for the school board and one separate for the district, has at least twice as many schools as Flagler County. We have 9 schools. And it's adding an additional $300,000 plus cost that could probably be eliminated, especially since the fact now that we've taken on Neola, and Neola will do all of our updates. We're paying for that, and that'll help with keeping our procedures and all updated. That is one thing that was always done by our in-house attorney that no longer needs to be done by our in-house attorney, which is good. I think that's great. So with less work, I still can't understand why we can't have one attorney handling the situations that are necessary and pay one set of benefits instead of adding on by contract a school board attorney. That is what I would like eventually to be discussed. That's all.
Okay.
Down the
we will
road,
take
down the
that
road. Yep, down the
under
road.
Advisement, thank you.
That's it.
All right.
That's all I have.
Anything from you, Dr. Conklin?
No, not for board requests, and just have some comments at the end.
Okay, very good. Then we will move on to closing comments.
I'll save mine till the end.
Tonight?
Yeah.
All right.
I just
Night.
wanted to, I wanted to thank Superintendent Moore and your administration and everybody else who stepped up to work the shelters, because I know how much time and energy that all takes, and it's time away from their own families, their own homes, and it doesn't go unnoticed. And I hope the community understands and realizes what's sacrificed by staff who work the shelters to try to really provide a safe and comfortable haven for people who have been evacuated or need to leave their home. So I just want to say thank you, and I'll say that again later tonight, but I just wanted to thank you very much for that.
The team definitely works extremely hard, and I want to just highlight Tommy Willihan back there. He is our point of contact, and he does a really good job, and we all support, but I appreciate him and his hard work and making sure that we can navigate all of the different parts of it. And I don't think that people realize the work that comes into it. And I was going to save this for 6 o'clock, but we had 2 guests that were there at the shelter who demanded that I share with you as a board that we run a 5-star shelter. And that they wanted me to call them the New Yorkers.
I love it.
They were so pleased, but and I say that to our team all the time, that we are running a 5-star shelter experience. But really, for us as a staff, is to make sure that we are able to provide the best environment that we can provide to our community, that we do it with patience and love and grace and kindness. And we get a lot of great reviews from our shelter. And it's not just...
Do we have a TripAdvisor?
I was gonna say,
It's
is there a
funny.
Yelp out there? I don't know.
It's funny because Dr. O'Brien's like, we should have a survey for this, but it really does. It
That is a
takes
great idea, actually.
Food service is there 24 hours. Our custodial services, maintenance, technology, our administrators, their custodial services. I mentioned them. By Friday, I was exhausted. And I can only imagine what our staff that were there who didn't have the opportunity to leave, how they were feeling. And what people don't see is that on Saturday, after we worked on Friday to get rimfire turned over, we had teams from all of these departments going to every single school. Every
Checking,
school
making sure.
from our plant services team must be walked every door open and assessed, every single one of them. So they worked on Saturday and they worked on Sunday as well. And so we have a great team that comes together, but the experience that our community gets is a really good experience. And we have a lot of great partners with our health department. I don't want to start naming names because then we'll get off. Our sheriff's office, the county, all of the cities. Jonathan Lord and the EOC, that team over there, they do such a great job. It's a labor of love
Yeah.
for sure.
That's
it's
great.
a labor of
That's
love.
really great.
We had a good time, and you make friends,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
These are individuals that sometimes year over year we get to see, and sometimes they even send messages. I told Ms. Logan today, we had a individual client that was at the shelter who stopped me and said, "You know Ms. Logan, right?" I said, "I do." "Give her my number." I said, "I got my own job to do and not be her assistant." But no, it's really, you're welcome. It's a labor of love for sure. It's a great opportunity to serve our community. So thank you for acknowledging the hard work that our team puts into doing
How
it.
many folks did we have?
About 200.
Wow.
And animals, we had 10 at a highest, I can't remember.
11 cats, 12 dogs, and a parakeet.
What is it?
11 cats, 12 dogs, and a parakeet.
And a parakeet.
Wow.
Yeah. And so families are here. Yes, so we had about
Good.
right under 200 people that were there at the shelter.
Excellent.
Yes,
Excellent.
it's a good
Excellent.
time.
Yes, very well done. I was able to tour with Superintendent Moore. The total setup, it was well done. There were people waiting at the doors as the doors opened. They were ready to receive them, and they were there bright and early, and the day before, and had an auxiliary site ready in case we needed it. So that was a great preparation for
That's awesome.
our community. Great
And what
service to
people
our-
don't see too is, I can't remember saying it was 3:00 in the morning. I get a text, Dave and I, that the guys are out there fixing the generator, because when that generator doesn't turn on automatically, our staff, they're going out there in the
Yeah.
elements to get it going. But power was restored to the generator quickly, and everyone was happy. And it is great to hear from the individuals who are there who do feel
That's awesome.
that we have treated them with kindness and love and dignity and grace. And so it's a great experience.
That's awesome. Great. Thank you for sharing.
All right, well then, that
Can I just add
Oh,
one thing?
Absolutely.
I
Go
just
ahead.
want, and we're gonna start pushing it out, but November 12th will be the last board meeting or last meeting for Dr. Conklin and for Ms. Macero. And so we are going to be pushing out to the community to come and join us on the 12th to celebrate them and all that they have done. I know tonight is their official board meeting, but the workshop, we are going to celebrate them and all that they have done for Flagler County. So plan to spend 3 p.m. on the November 12th with us here as we celebrate Ms. Macero and Dr. Conklin.
Oh, that's very kind. Very kind. Thank you.
I look forward to that. All right, this meeting is adjourned.